Well, it was billed as the battle of the big serve versus the big ground strokes, and it seems the big serve won out on this occasion. Two-time champion Victoria Azarenka booking her spot in the round of 16 for the 11th time here in Melbourne. Chris Bowers, welcome back to the AO show. A lot of anticipation around this match, but Azarenka triumphant in the end. 6-1, 7-5.
Yes, and more convincingly than I thought. I thought this would be closer. It was very quick in the first set, 26, 27 minutes. Second set was an odd one because Ostapenko looked like she was going to walk it the same way. What was odd about this was that Azarenka was solid all the way through. Ostapenko, I keep thinking, if she were to only start playing some rallies rather than going for a big shot at the first possible opportunity, would she be a better player or would she be a worse player because she'd just get frustrated? And there were times in the second set where I just got the sense she was trying to rally a little bit, and it's so not her game. And really, Azarenka's got her number, but Ostapenko, I guess she's always been like this. When she gets on a streak, she can beat anybody, but she can also lose very, very badly. Matches that she ought to be at least competitive in.
Simon Ray, 4-0 now to Azarenka.
Yeah, that makes it 4, John. And all about the opening set from my perspective. That's where the separation was in this match. So 27 points to 14 in the opening set as compared to 37 to 38 in the second set. So the separation or the gap in the match is early. And we identified it last night when looking at the contest in terms of the Azarenka service game. So how about this for some variety on serve? In terms of the serves that she made in the first set, from a first serve perspective, Azarenka splits the court on the deuce court, goes out wide 44% of the time, goes down the tee 44% of the time, into the body the remaining 12% of the time. To the ad side, 50-50, tee and wide.
Yep.
So that serve variety keeps Ostapenko off balance from a return perspective. I mean, you can't deliver any better variety than that. And then she returns fire in terms of getting a look at the Ostapenko second serve. Victoria Azarenka steps way inside the baseline, makes a statement, and goes bang from a returner serve perspective, and just heightens the discomfort in terms of what Ostapenko's feeling on her own service game, which is not the strength of the Ostapenko game.
No, the one thing that was working for Ostapenko was the backhand down the line. And I just wonder whether, if anything, Azarenka should have served a few fewer out to the backhand in the advantage court.
Yeah, perhaps, but I think the other standout thing for me in terms of looking at the data, particularly out of the opening set, is the gap between the players in terms of speed and spin from the ground was even starker than we might have thought. But I wonder if that's almost a plan from the Azarenka camp. It's the less speed you're giving Ostapenko, perhaps the better.
Right.
So the gap's in excess of 25 kilometres an hour on the backhand side. Ostapenko's hitting the backhand at 120 clicks an hour. Azarenka's down at 96. And I wonder if it's almost a deliberate thing. There's a similar gap on the forehand side. But the gap in the match was absolutely made early. The first set of this clash was where it was at.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, the second set looked like we might have had a reversal of fortune. She got out to a 4-1 lead, the Latvian Chris, but that quickly evaporated. Azarenka in the end getting a run of 5 consecutive games to seal that second set 7-5.
Yeah, and the question I'm left with was not why did Ostapenko lose that lead? It was how did she get it in the first place? Because Azarenka's level didn't really drop. I suppose Ostapenko was, when she goes for her strokes and she makes quite a few, but there was a run of games from about, was it 1-all to 4-1? I can't remember exactly, when Ostapenko seemed to be making her shots. But to Azarenka's credit, she did not let her level drop. So there was always that wall against which Ostapenko was playing. I don't know if the stats tell us anything about that, Simon.
Well, I think in terms of what the numbers do say, on the Azarenka service game in the opening set, wins 87% of her points behind her first serve. Almost untouchable. 44% of the points on her second serve, which you'd think is a poor return, but it's not a bad return against a returner like a Jelena Ostapenko. And in the second set, that starts to shift a little bit in terms of second serve down at 27%. So Ostapenko gets a hold of the Azarenka second serve, but she's still operating at a very high number in terms of first serve points won, 78%. So the Azarenka first serve, the location, the variety, keeping Ostapenko off balance. We mentioned it last night, and it came to fruition today in the clash.
Something that your numbers won't show is this ability of Ostapenko to be fighting a computer, to be fighting the electronic review system. The amount of times when a ball is called out or in, and she looks and she sort of looks up at her coach as if to say, who placed this electronic review system? It's got to be wrong. Now, on the tightest of tight decisions, you might say, okay, is the tolerance margin for these systems so precise that actually I might have been done out of a point here. But she was implying once or twice, she held up her racket in her hands as if to imply a ball was 20 centimetres out.
And requested a replay for a let at one point.
Now that suggests to me that she is looking to blame something rather than to say, right, what am I going to do to win this match? And that, I think, is one of the big reasons why she's losing matches that she should win.
Plenty to contemplate in the aftermath of that. Now Azarenka may be on track for a possible quarterfinal with the other mother in the draw, Aryna Sabalenka. All eyes on that section of the draw. Turning our spotlight to day 8, and it's the big one between the local hope Alex De Minaur, the last remaining Australian, and Andrey Rublev. Both have been to the fourth round, and I think Rublev looking to get into his third quarterfinal in Melbourne.
In a way, this is bad news for De Minaur, because if it had happened in a quarterfinal, I would say he's got a good chance, because Rublev, he's had, 6 Grand Slams, 7 Grand Slam quarterfinals? He's stuck at that point. And the really damaging one was against Cilic when he got to a final set tiebreak at Roland Garros a couple of years ago, and just played an awful tiebreak. There's something about that stage in a slam, but this is fourth round, and Rublev is very comfortable winning fourth rounds. And Rublev has been in good form so far. Now, so is De Minaur, and De Minaur is at the height of his form, height of his ranking as well. So I've been very impressed with what De Minaur can do. He's hitting serves at 200 kilometres an hour that he was never doing before. He's not only quick about the court, which he always has been, but he's got a greater weight of shot. This will be very competitive, but I have a feeling Rublev might just edge it.
Yeah, I think this is really exciting, really enticing prospect. Obviously 3-2 in Rublev's favour overall in terms of the head-to-head, but even the clash in Paris at the back end of last year was a tight tussle, a 3-set battle that I think Rublev ended up coming out on top of. So it's a really appealing prospect. Chris is right. Alex De Minaur's serving speeds are significantly higher in 2024 than we've ever seen before. 197 kilometres an hour the other night on first serve, 160 on second. I do have a theory, though, in terms of what we've all been talking about and identifying as the weakness in the Rublev game in terms of his second serve. We're all talking about it, and that camp's not silly. This is a world-class player. So I've run some numbers tonight in anticipation of perhaps you asking the question, John. And the Rublev second serve's gone up nearly 10 kilometres an hour in 2024 based on what we were seeing down under here in 2023. So he knows the story too.
Yeah.
He's delivering more heat on second serve, certainly, than we saw from him in 2023. I think this is a 50-50 matchup, and I'm really looking forward to taking it in.
I don't think, though, that the second serve is going to make the difference. What's going to make the difference is what's between Rublev's ears, because he is a superb ball striker. To me, he is as good as Medvedev and Khachanov, that group of Russians. What has let him down is that he gets down on himself.
Oh, yeah.
He really does lose confidence in himself, and that's not only bad for his own confidence on the tennis court, it gives the opponent the signal, I've got under his skin, or he's got under his own skin. And that, I think, is what could damage Rublev. On pure ball striking, Rublev is the better player here. But in terms of match play, I think that's where I think it really is a 50-50.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that mentality can manifest in terms of second serve points won. So when he fell at the hurdle to Djokovic last year, Rublev, I think he wins about 30% of his second serve points. The other night against Korda, he's up towards 60%. So sometimes that mentality, I think Chris is right, but it does manifest in the numbers sometimes, particularly on second serve. He who hesitates is lost, and there'll be no room for hesitation tomorrow.
Final prediction from you, Chris?
For me, it's a 51-49 for Rublev.
And Simon.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other camp. I'm going to say it's a 51-49 the other way, and the Australian gets it done.
That bodes as an exciting match on day 8 of the Australian Open. Come back for more of the AO Show then. In the meantime, if you'd like to hear this episode in full, just search the AO Show wherever you get your podcasts and be sure to subscribe.